Hey all, welcome to this late night Scotch review. So it's almost 9:10 now, and I'm just gonna ignore, so I just had this pop up. So for some reason my camera's microphone doesn't like working properly, so it gives me like messages saying that it is not recording sound, and sometimes it doesn't record sound, and sometimes it gives me that message and is recording sound anyway. So it's done this like 4 times already tonight, and yeah. Each time it was recording sound when I checked it, so I'm just going to run with it now. But anyways, what are we reviewing? We're reviewing basically America's most popular Scotch whiskey, according to what I've read. Yeah, I thought it was going to be Johnnie Walker Red as well, but it's not apparently. It's Dewar's White Label. And this is, of course, a blended Scotch whiskey, and kind of considered, I wouldn't say it's bottom shelf. I mean, I've seen like some pretty, pretty scary looking Scotch whiskies on there. I guess if it's alcohol made with grains in Scotland, you can call it Scotch. But yeah. So it's not a single malt. Let's just put it that way. And this is their basic, most popular one, and I'm reviewing it for a very particular reason, which people will soon find out. And I forgot to dub this episode. I'm going to dub it the jerk pork review because I have jerk pork in the refrigerator. I had a bad week, but let's focus on the good things: Scotch whiskey and Jamaican food. So yeah, this label is very small, very very small, and I am getting old to the point where I'm probably going to need glasses soon because let's go and struggle with this. Dewar's blended Scotch whiskey, white label, true Scotch, double aged for extra smoothness. Dewar's never varies. This number never varies. This number ensures traceability against forgery or imitation. Okay, well, this I got this for $25. I know it's probably cheaper on the mainland, so I'm not sure why someone would need to go and forge a $20 whiskey. But hey, golden prize, 500 medals. Um, by appointment to Her Majesty Elizabeth II. Scotch whiskey distilled by John Dewar and Sons, Perth, Scotland. So yeah, I guess this has been on the shelf for a while because the royal seal for it is still Queen Elizabeth, God rest her soul. Um, I'm not saying that in a joking way. I actually did like her quite a bit as a queen. So yeah, I've never really drank this before, you know. So yeah, I'm going to be doing tasting on this. I apologize, my nose isn't the best as it is today. I cracked open a new tin of pipe tobacco after lunch, and it contains dark fired Kentucky, and I forgot about that. And it's probably not the best thing, to maintain your palate. And my God, it's delicious. It's Irish flake. It's basically a pressed cut tobacco plug, comprised mostly of Virginias and dark fired Kentucky. Very rich, very strong tasting, and a lot of nicotine. So yeah, and if you're the kind of person that combines, Scotch whiskey, that would probably be a great tobacco to, with alcohols with pipe tobaccos. This would probably go very well with it, but I'm not. I'm not. It doesn't work for me. I find mixing tobacco and alcohol does not work for me, and it's strange because it seems to be quite the combination for most people. Okay, let's go pour this out, and we're going to try it straight first. I just realized I left a fingerprint on my glass. Wonderful. Oh well. So to the vicissitudes of life. A bit of an we'll just over pour it just a little bit because I'm going to be adding water in a bit. So, golden yellow. By the way, this is 80 proof, aka 40 ABV. Pretty thin legging. Notes of pears, apricot. Underneath that, a touch of peat. Peat's not too strong in the nosing. You can smell it, but it's not quite as it's not as aromatic as many other scotches that I have nosed before. But yeah, definitely kind of fruity, slightly honeyed dominance in the nose. Okay, onto the palate. Kind of surprisingly dry. It's not overly distinct, the taste notes here, so it's a bit on the muddy side, the taste notes. I'm having kind of a slight bit of difficulty sussing it out. So there's oakiness that emerges in the mids. Kind of moves to a sort of pepperiness. Rather on the peppery side. I usually don't catch much pepper in Scotch whiskies, but yeah, this one's kind of got a touch of white pepper in the finish. There's some fruitiness up front, and as a sub note, underneath the woodiness in the mids. Kind of hard to discern, really. It definitely doesn't taste like how the nose smells, um, even in regards to the fruit. Maybe just kind of vaguely stone fruit, there in the front two mids. There's a slight alcohol heat, but it's not obnoxious, you know. Okay, now that I'm getting used to it, a bit more sweetness is emerging in the mids, but still overall very defined by the oakiness. I'm not getting much off the top notes, but that's why I gave like that sort of warning about like I had smoked a pretty strong tobacco after lunch. The top notes would probably be this. I'm there's probably top notes there that I'm not able to catch right now. Let's see here if I can open it up a little bit. Okay, let's go and try this. Okay, I'm going to explain what I'm doing after I do it. Hmm. Yeah. Okay, that's why I kind of had a hard time finding it there. So that's where the peat really mostly shows up. Not on the palate. Very much. I wouldn't say it's subtle. I'd say it's probably it probably is a bit more overt, but it really does blend in with that sort of residual dark-fired Kentucky I got up there in the nose right now. Mouthfeel is not the most pleasant. You know, it's kind of drying out my palate a little bit. Oh, what I did there was I kind of by spreading out like the skin here, I kind of opened up the top part of my nasal cavity so that more air can kind of fit in there and just kind of travel through. So I'm catching more of the aromatic molecules. Okay, so I have cold water here. I'm going to go ahead and clean my mouth a bit. And I realize I forgot the spoon on the counter. I've learned my lesson about just pouring it directly in. Let's just put it that way. Oh, God damn it, it fell into the sink. Just a moment. So, yeah. After drowning far too many whiskeys, I now kind of use a spoon to add water to it. I'd rather get the... There we go. Oopsie. Just a moment. Ugh. Didn't want water getting on that down there. Okay. So, I'm going to add the water now. Just a few drops. Okay. Moving it back. Okay. So the camera refocuses. Some slight change. It seems like the oak is showing up a bit more in the nose now. Not once have I ever added water to an 80 proof Scotch and thought, yeah, this is better for it. Yeah, the bad parts are more magnified now by the addition of water, in my opinion. Which is kind of interesting, because some of the reviews I read, it went the opposite way. It's like, this is better with the addition of water. But now the kind of sweetness, the fruitiness is blasted away completely. The peatiness is showing up. That smoky peatiness is showing up a bit more. But at the same time, this has also developed kind of an unpleasant kind of taste note in the long finish. Kind of, when you have kind of cheaper booze, it'll sometimes leave that kind of bitter taste note, that bitter, lasting, long finish taste note. Yeah, it kind of has that now with the addition of water. To be honest, you know, I have a review from years ago in which I review Johnnie Walker Black. Johnnie Walker Black's a bit more expensive than this by a few dollars, but I think it goes a lot further. This isn't awful. I mean, I'm not gagging or anything. It's just it does you know, with scotches I kind of expect big taste, complexity, um, you know, and this is kind of muted, muddy, has some taste notes I'm not quite enjoying. I think, on the rocks, it might be very good on the rocks, and it'll probably work just fine for cocktails that require scotch as an ingredient because it does have that peaty note to it, which is not the telltale marking of Scotch, because I know there are unpeated Scotches, but it's sort of what people associate with Scotch whiskey and the flavors therein. Yeah. So yeah, Dewar's White Label, America's most popular blended Scotch whiskey. Um, you can taste that it's a Scotch, and it's not awful, but it's not really great either. It's not something that you're going to be drinking because you want to savor the complex nuances of a Scotch whiskey. It's something you pour over the rocks or mix into a drink and just kind of forget about it. You know what I mean? Well, not really forget about it, but you're not drinking it for the Scotch experience. Now, if you've never had a Scotch before and you're kind of curious, it'll work for that purpose. I'd more recommend Johnnie Walker Black instead for the, newbie Scotch whiskey virgin. But this will serve the purpose, and it is slightly cheaper than Johnnie Walker Black. And yeah, there's going to be some more interesting ones kind of coming up later on. Um, and it all kind of relates to this Dewar's. But I really felt that I needed to go and review the baseline standard Dewar's juice, in order to get a feel for the basic Scotch that we're working with here and how different kinds of handling changes the flavor profile and the tasting experience. So yeah, that is your Scotch whiskey review for this almost 9:30 in the evening time, folks. Cheers.